A speech evaluation does not refer to a sandwich of commendation, mild recommendation, and thoughtless encouragement. A true speech evaluation is about really understanding the speech, the speaker, and saying things that will really help them improve. So how do we go about crafting that particular valuable evaluation? We're going to discuss what to do before the speech, during the speaker's delivery, your delivery as the evaluator, as well as what to do after the evaluation to make it truly valuable. Hey, my name is Radeep, and I love learning about effective communications and sharing those learnings with you so that you can level up your communications game as well. An evaluation begins before the speech even starts. What I mean to say by this is that if you're at Toastmasters and you're asked to give an evaluation before the event actually begins, it's a good idea to go up to our speaker and actually ask them that, hey, I'm your evaluator for the day. Is there anything in particular that you want me to look for or observe in your speech? Or do you just want a generic overall evaluation of your speech or presentation? And this can really help us narrow down on anything that they might really want to improve upon. Before the event begins, it's also important to understand who our speaker is and how familiar are they with public speaking. For instance, if a beginner speaker is going on stage, it's probably not the best idea to focus too much on recommending better eye contact or body language for them. Now let's move on to during the speech. When the speaker is speaking on stage, one very fundamental thing to keep in mind is to remember that this evaluation is not about us, the evaluators. It's always about the speakers. And one thing that really irritated me when I was in Toastmasters was that as evaluators, we try to impress the audience when we speak. And we compromise on saying things that are of actual value and focus a lot more on our own performance. So we need to clear that mentality and keep our evaluations simple, because it's not about us, it's about communicating our messages as effectively as possible to the speaker. Now, when the speech begins, whatever thoughts come to your mind, just write all of them down. Just write them down and think about structuring them later on. Just dump everything on the paper for now. And what are we looking for? We need to move beyond the obvious. So don't focus too much on things like body language and eye contact and voice modulation. Everyone talks about that. Almost everyone knows that they need to improve upon that. Instead, focus more on the nuances of that particular speech. Was the message that the speaker tried to communicate easy to understand? Did the speaker ramble on and on? Could their speech have been shorter? Was the information presented very generic, or was it unique and interesting? Could anything have been done better to explain the main point or message of that speech a little better? And when we look at it that way, we can make our evaluations a lot more focused to that particular speech. And then we can spend some time on the actual delivery of the speech, like your hand gestures and your facial expressions and whatnot. And I'm not saying delivery is not important. We of course need to focus a lot on that. It's just that we need to draw a good balance between delivery and the content of the speech. Content is something that no matter what level you are at in your public speaking journey, it's an easier fix than delivery in most cases. In talking about delivery, let's talk about your delivery as the evaluator. When you go on stage, the very first thing that I like to do, and I recommend it to you as well, is to start off with the area or part of the speech that connected with you the most. This helps draw a deeper connection between you, the evaluator, and the speaker, and it helps you be a little more invested into the speech. So for instance, if they have spoken about depression or mental health issues, as the evaluator, you can start off your evaluation by saying, the very first thing that I connected with in Neil's speech was his topic. Depression and mental health is something that's been so close to me because I've seen so many of my loved ones go through it. And that's what made me instantly connect with his speech. And it's then that we move on to our recommendations and our commendations. But we need to keep in mind that we always need to give reasons and examples for whatever it is that we're saying. For instance, if you're recommending some sort of improvement, we need to give a reason and an example about what is it that they can improve and how to go about improving that. For instance, years and years ago, when I was evaluating one speaker, I noticed that his speech wasn't structured properly, which made it hard for me as an audience member to understand his main message. So I actually went through a very basic speech structure that he could follow to make his message a lot more clearer. And when we give reasons and examples of things that can be improved, it just makes your evaluations so much more valuable. One more basic thing to keep in mind is that when you're giving an evaluation, don't look directly at the speaker, but address the entire crowd. Because while your evaluation is going to be most valuable for the speaker, it also benefits the rest of the audience because a lot of principles can be moved around and adapted to different situations. And finally, after the evaluation, always make sure that you go to your speaker and ask them, hey, did you think my points were fair? Did I cover everything that you needed? Is there anything else that you would like to know from me in terms of your speech? And when we follow that, talking to them before the speech as well as after the evaluation, it helps us make sure that we're giving it our best shot in being as valuable as evaluators as we can. And that's about it. These are the steps that I have taken as an evaluator to try and give helpful evaluations. And I really hope that this has helped you do the same. If you have any more questions around things like public speaking, Toastmasters, or communications, we have an entire website with in-depth articles and resources dedicated just for that. So go check out franticallyspeaking.com. And if you're nominated for the role of General Evaluator, we've created an entire video of what you need to do throughout that process to be a good GE. You can check out that video right here.